Good day everyone, and welcome to another Minecraft Pocket Edition. This time around, I needed some cacti, so I decided to do a cactus farm. And here we go. Basically, this farm is modular, and it only requires a 13 by 13 space. The first thing you need to do, of course, is build yourself a little infinite water source, because frankly, this thing is going to take a lot of water. So, here we go. I already traced out the 13 by 13 square in dirt, as you can see, and this is the elements that are required. You only need a couple of chests, a couple of hoppers, 16 cacti and 16 sand per level, about 2.5 building blocks per level, about a stack and a half of slabs per level, some fence posts, a couple of glass, and some lighting elements if you wish. That's optional. So let's go. Grab all your stuff and lay down your 13 by 13 square. It's pretty simple, just boom, boom, boom. And I like working with smooth stone here, but you can use any kind of building blocks you want. You can even use wood, any kind of stone, anything like that. And once you have your 13 by 13 square, go to where the back of your thing is and put in another row inside the outer square. Then hop up, place down 4 blocks like so, and to the other side 4 blocks like so, and then along the back raise the back wall by 1. This is the area that's going to contain all the water required for your cacti farm. And there you have it. Now go to the front and dig out 1 deep, 2 across, all the way from side to side. This is going to be the trench where your water goes. Now, 3 blocks in from the wall, place a block, place another one on top, and then place 6 across. And go back and remove the bottom, and then remove in between each of these blocks, which will leave you a row of 4 floating blocks with spaces in between. And on each of these blocks, place 6 blocks, and then go through and take out the center one on each one. The reason you're doing this is basically cacti cannot grow next to anything. You cannot place it next to anything. So you need your floating blocks to be 1 square apart. And when you're done, you're going to have a grid of 4 by 4 floating blocks on which to place your sand and your cacti. As you can see, this is pretty simple. The reason we have them floating is so it doesn't interrupt the water flows, so they can carry your grown cactus down to the collection system with no problem. So here you go, and you've got your 4 by 4 floating blocks with space in between. Because my original footage messed up really badly, now the demo that you're seeing is going to be from one of the upper levels, but it's basically the same for every level. Now it's time to add your sand on top of each block. This will be the growth medium for your cacti since they won't grow on anything else. Just put the 8 there, come around to the other side, and place the 8 over here. Now, build yourself up a little scaffolding using actual scaffolding or dirt or anything you have on hand. Once you're up high enough, 1 more, about 4 up, now you can start placing your cacti. Place 8 cacti on the side that you can reach, and on that inner row of cacti, what you're going to do is take a building block and place it on top of each one. Then place a fence post on each building block on the side that's between the 2 cacti. and then remove the building block. Those fence posts are going to help the cacti shear off. Now go to the other side and do the same thing. Cacti. Then building blocks on the inner ones. Fence posts. And then remove the building blocks. You're going to lose those building blocks because they will break on hitting the cacti, but don't worry about it. And now you have your basic level. All you need to do now is add the water. If you look at it from far away, it's a lovely looking little farm. You should have 16 floating blocks, 16 sand, 16 cacti, 8 fence posts. And those fence posts are going to help the cacti shear off when they grow up one. So now it's time for the really fun part, adding the water. But first, you're going to have to build your collection system. So go over to your little trench here, and then you're going to dig down one more in a 2 by 4 area. Once that is done, you're going to head on outside of your build, and not at the corner, but the next block in, right in front of it, dig down 3, and then jump on down the hole. Turn to your left, take out the 2 dirt blocks to the left of you, and then turn back towards your collector and take out these 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where your chest will be placed. So, place the double chest right there. And on top of the double chest, place a couple of glass blocks. Don't forget to crouch when you're placing. This will enable you to still open the chest and keep the water out. Now, time to get out. I use scaffolding, but you can just use a ladder if you want. And then hop over to the inside, go over to this end, and take out these last 2 blocks at the far side. And then turn, crouch, and place a hopper facing into the chest. And then get out of the way there, and a hopper feeding into that hopper. This is your collection system. Everything is water driven. You don't need any redstone or anything like that. So now comes the really fun part with the water. On this back row, you're going to place a water source on each of that inner row of stone. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, so speed it up. Boom, boom. And keep going till you've got every block covered. You have a nice smooth waterfall going all the way to the trench, but not in it. Now for the last of the water is this sideways trench. And you're going to place 2 water sources, one there and one there, and that will flow all of the items down to the hoppers. So after this is run for a couple of minutes, you can go in and check and see what kind of amounts you're getting. With just a 16 by 16 square, it's not going to be very many, but you may not need that many cacti. It depends on what you're doing. However, if you need more cacti, then what you can do is build a second level, and a third, and a fourth. The joy of this is that it can go all the way to build height, depending on how many cacti you need. So if you're going to build a second level, all you need to do is go down, start building up, place a block there, and 6 total. And then go across, so you've got 13 across on this side. Notice you're not building over that trench. And then when you're going this way, add 9 more blocks so that you've got 10 total on this side. Create your little square and then fill it in. Now what I like to do is I like to put in the floor lighting on the subsequent levels. Keeps it from getting very dark, and it makes it glow at night quite nicely. But you know, this is optional and up to you. You can just use regular stones. I'll show you how to mob proof the whole thing later. But go ahead and fill in this floor, and voila! Now it's time to add in the side and back wall, just like you did on the base. Do not put any wall in the front because that will block your cacti from falling over the edge. And then hop up, do the 4 on each side. Then fill in the back wall so that it's too high. Then fill in that inner row where the water will go. And go to the front, and it's the third one in from the edge on the right. Make sure you're right over that cacti there. You can see you are. Place down your block on top. And then 6 more to the side. Remove the bottom block, remove the center blocks, rinse and repeat. Then go down to your first level, take down, there should be 5 blocks connecting the 2 levels. And you have built your second level. Once you're up there, you can place your floating blocks, your sand, your cactus, etc., just like in the first level. And you can always go down and check and see how much cacti you're getting as you complete each level. You might even recover some of your building blocks if they didn't hit the cactus directly. And the farm seems to be working at a pretty decent clip. So here's how you mob proof the bottom. Raise the rest of the rows that are not 2 blocks up to 2 blocks. This will prevent animals from wandering in. And they will wander in. And then once you've got all of the blocks down, you're going to slab the entire thing to prevent mobs from spawning on top of these walls. Now the underfloor lighting will help that. Oh, and yes, ignore the arrow being shot at you from a skeleton behind you. Yes, I see you, Mr. Skeleton. And you're now mob-proofed. So if you don't need that many cacti, you can basically stop here. It's a nice farm, 2 levels, gravity takes care of everything, and all you have to do is come by occasionally and collect your cacti. But if you're ambitious, you can add more. Depending on how many cacti you need, this can go literally to build height. I'm gonna go up just a few more levels. So, of course, it's raining while I'm finishing this up. Looks like I've gone about 6 levels now. And I'm happy with that, I guess, but I think I want more. But let's check and see how many cacti we've got. Not too bad. I think a couple more levels. It's looking pretty nice. I have some ideas on decorating, but I'll worry about that later. Now I'd like to show you something that I absolutely love to build right next to my cacti farm. All this is a simple composting setup. You need a couple of chests, a couple of hoppers, and one composter, and if you want to make it pretty, a bunch of trapdoors. So all you need to do is place down a chest, anywhere, crouch and place down a hopper on top of the chest, and then wait for the rain to stop, and then come over and place a composter on top of that hopper. On top of the composter goes another hopper, and on top of that hopper goes your other chest. This is a basic setup for composting anything organic. And to make it pretty, you can just add trapdoors to the sides of each element and then flap them down. So trapdoor or trapdoor. Remember to crouch when you're trying to place the trapdoors, because otherwise you just end up opening the chests and or hoppers. You do that on the sides, then on the back, and then on the front, although I like to only put 3 on the front, so I'm not covering the big front of those chests. Then flap down your trapdoors. You have a compact little column that you can use to compost, well, anything organic. I like to place these near my farms, especially like to place them near a moss farm, near a cactus farm, near a food farm, and any excess can just be tossed into the hoppers and composted and turned into bone meal. Well, now I've gone up a few more. It's not bad, but I want more. So up, and there's more. Maybe a couple more. I never know when to quit with these things. But at any rate, it's looking pretty good. I have a few ideas on how to decorate it, and I might do a video about that. But for now, I think I'll just be happy with what I have. Now let's show you some of the things you can do with cacti. This is a simple disposal system. With a dispenser, throw in stuff at a cactus. Anything that touches a cactus will get destroyed. It will also damage living things. So you could use them as a trap, say, for, unwanted mobs. The second thing you can do with cacti is you can smelt them. When you smelt them, you get green dye. Green dye is useful for dyeing, well, anything that can be dyed. You can dye wool, you can dye carpet, you can dye concrete, you can dye terracotta, you can even use it to dye the collars on your dogs. The other thing you can do with green dye is combine it with white dye, and it gives you lime green dye, which again, you can use to basically dye anything you want. You want to color code your dog army? There you go. Another way I like to use this, and this is my favorite way of using cacti, is in my transport system. I have a little underground transport system that uses mine carts and rails, and I have a lovely little setup that allows us to call and eliminate mine carts. So we go down into the subway. As you can see, we have a cacti there at the end. There's a hopper in front of it, a dispenser in front of that, powered rails, and a few other nifty rails that will allow you to remove your mine cart. So dispense a mine cart, hop in, and take a ride on the system. And when you get to the end, you'll see what happens. So now we're approaching the end. The rails will dump you out of the minecart. The minecart will keep going to the cactus, which will break it. It'll fall into that hopper, and the hopper will put it back in the dispenser, and then you can push the button, and it redispenses the minecart. This is one of my favorite uses for cacti. Oh yes, and there is one other thing. There's a reason I put this composter set up over here. So let's grab some cacti. I think our levels will be, oh yeah, it's really producing now. So if you grab a stack or two, or any excess that you don't have any particular use for at the moment, then drop them into the top chest of your little composting setup, and just wait until the noises stop. It is a very noisy thing. It'll go through the hopper, then to the composter, then to the hopper, and then eventually to the bottom chest where you get bone meal. Not a lot, but still bone meal, which is handy. So there you have it, the lovely tower. I think I'll still add a couple more levels. I never know when to stop. But it's useful, and I hope you found this interesting. So that was a tutorial on how to make yourself a lovely little cactus farm. I hope it was useful. This is done on Pocket Edition, so even people playing on their phones can do this. And I hope you have a lovely day, and here, have some cactus. Goodbye.